Welcome to Thursday's live meditation. Thank you for joining me. If you are watching later on, then welcome. I am doing the meditation today around the theme of stress. And I'm sure, unfortunately, stress is something that we have all experienced at some point. And probably rightly so, because sometimes the situation or the experiences we've had or find ourselves in are really stressful, that it can really impact us in that way. And, I think to say that we shouldn't feel stressed about things, I just don't think is realistic. I'm not always sure is very helpful. Someone once said to me a few years ago, when I was stressed about something, I said, I didn't think you'd get stressed. You're a mindfulness teacher. You shouldn't be stressed, should you? And my response was like, well, I'm a human being with emotions. When things happen, it's normal for us to have an emotional reaction to it. But for me, my mindfulness practice helps me to manage that stress, and to hold on to it and to be able to process and work through it. Because we know that ongoing stress, when we're stressed a lot of the time, it can have a lot of negative impacts on our physical health as well. It's not good for us to have stress for a long period of time. And so what I wanted to focus in our meditation today is to include a breathwork practice. Because stress can impact us so physically, I think it helps to have a bit of a physical thing to do in response. And breathwork is a really good practice to be able to do, because when we get stressed and we feel it really physically, don't we? It is setting off that sympathetic part of our nervous system, so that fight-flight response. And if we're in that response for a prolonged period of time, we can see some of those negative consequences. And so what breathwork does really effectively is it helps us to come back into a parasympathetic part of our nervous system, that rest, digest, where we can heal, where we can be creative. So incorporating some breath work into your meditation, I think, is always a really nice thing to be able to do. So we are going to do a breathwork practice called box breathing, one of my favourite ones. But what I always say to people as well, before we do any type of breathwork, is listen to your body, okay? If it doesn't feel right, just don't do it. Respect your body. And I always suggest to people, if you have any respiratory or breathing issues as well, then do check it out with your health professional first if you've never done any breathwork practice before, just to be on the safe side. Okay, so let's do our meditation now. So again, like I said, each day this week, try and sit somewhere where you're not likely to be disturbed, or say to people around you, you're going to be doing a meditation. And then find a place where you can sit or even lie, really comfortably. And if you feel able to, close your eyes or just lower your gaze, just to remove some of those visual distractions. And then let's just see if we can allow the body just to soften into this space. See if you can let go of some of that tension in your muscles, loosen your jaw, lower your shoulders. And just notice those points of contact where your feet are resting. Just the steadiness of that surface beneath you. And bring your attention to the textures you can feel with your fingertips. Just using these as points of contact to really bring us into the here and now, into the present moment. And if your mind is wandering, as the mind often does, just gently guide your focus back to these things where your feet are resting, those textures you can feel with your fingertips. And let's see if we can imagine in our mind's eye 4 equal sides of a square. Can we bring that image into our imagination right now? And then see if we can visualize ourselves just tracing with our finger the 4 equal sides of that square. Just seeing if we can activate our imagination to bring that image into our mind's eye. And we are going to try to breathe to a pattern following the 4 sides of that square. So as we trace up the square, we're going to breathe in for a count of 4. As we trace along the top of the square, we're going to hold our breath for a count of 4. As we trace down the square, we'll breathe out for a count of 4. And as we trace along the bottom, we'll hold the breath for a count of 4. So it's a breath in and a hold, a breath out and a hold. That's the pattern we're going to try breathing in. So I'm going to count you through this breathwork practice now, and again, listen to your body, do what feels comfortable for you. So let's start with that breath in. So breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and hold your breath, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, and then hold your breath, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. And I'm just going to let you do that breathing pattern in your own count. Breathing in and holding, breathing out and holding. And just finishing the round of breath that you're on. And then just letting go of any count of the breath, letting go of any focus. Just allow your mind to wander to wherever it wants to wander to. And again, just bringing yourself back to this present moment. Feel the contact of your feet where they're resting, those textures with your fingertips. And then when you're ready, reopen your eyes, lift your gaze, and we'll finish our meditation for today there. So thank you very much for joining me today. Remember, I've got the meditations from the lives this week. They're all on my page, and if you're part of my mailing list, I'm going to send them all via email to you tomorrow as well, when I finish tomorrow's too. And if you want to find out more about the Mindful Reset, during November we're going to be focusing on the theme of stress, learning more about it and learning the ways that we can really support ourselves kind of therapeutically and mindfully when we're experiencing those moments of stress. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm off now to have a bit of lunch, and then I'm going to go have a cup of tea with my friend Lynn. So I've got a lovely afternoon planned. So I hope you have a good one, and I'll be back again tomorrow.